So guys, welcome to your session of LCP University. This is a session about how to deliver a lead session. Lead sessions are really important because they are part of team experience, they are part of the team standards that we should deliver to our EV, and we as the leader of the leaders in our local committee, we need to be the responsible of facilitating these kind of spaces. But first, okay, after this, before this, you need to analyze what's the difference between a boss and a leader. And that's a question then that you need to reflect, you need to think about it like in this months until you have like you will have your LCP experience, because we know that in ISA we develop leadership, like, and it's different a leader than a boss, and we have to take really into account in our LCP experience next year this difference in order like to have like the correct behaviors and the correct modes in order to not cross the line between the leader and convert into a boss. Okay, try to always think if you think that you're the one that orders here, or if you think that you're the one that serves here. If it's the first sentence, you are having like a boss behavior. And if you have the second one, a leader behavior. You need to know that leaders are for serving their people. The LCPs are the guide of the EV and of the whole committee. Secondly, we need to know that a leader really needs to convince and not to impose. Sometimes you will face some stuff that you will need to impose, and you make to have like only one straightforward decision, but that's not the best idea. The idea is that you need to convince the other people that what's your vision and your position as LCP will help you to have a bigger and wider perspective in order to make XYZ decision. So you need to convince. Another thing, it's important that you establish this behavior of trust instead of fear. Because a leader is someone that is approachable. A leader is someone that you can trust in it and you can tell them whatever you want. Try to develop this during this months of building part of your new EV for the next year, and try to build this kind of trust to you and not a fear to you. Always regarding, especially this month, always try to have like this are one of our four qualities of the leadership that we develop in ISEC, that is solution orientation. Always try to have this solution orientation instead of mistake pointer, because we all know that humans commit mistakes, but that's not important, because mistakes are also knowledge, are also like they're gonna serve to help you and all. But in order that make you the mistake into a knowledge, a thing that you learn for, you need to be really solution oriented. Okay, so this is really tricky because you need to work with a team. You really need to build this collaborative culture among your EV and among your LC, instead of doing tasks to the team. By this, I'm not meaning that you're not allowed to give some tasks to the team, but I mean that your LCP position is not the one that only you are required to give them task and not explaining why, but to work with them, and then you can assign them tasks. But they need to understand the importance, and they need to understand why are you asking this. And you always have to know to establish the sharing to caring culture. This means that you need to share to success, and you need to promote and encourage every one of your EV to promote ideas, to have sharing spaces, and to have this collaborative community among your LC. By this, you will have trust, you will develop trust among your LC, and as well, you will have many other perspectives from members, from the leaders, VPs, and also you, in order to have and build a strong culture of the LC. Okay, so we all know that we as human beings, we're integral. We are not only John as MCVP for example, but join as human being, join as student, join as professional, join as friend. You need to care your VPs and the rest of your LC for human beings. By this, you will develop the trust that we have like been talking before, and also serve them as more as a guide to them. And we all remember that a leader, an LCP, needs to be really open-minded, not narrow-minded, because as LCPs, yes, we have a wider perspective of how the things are going on in the reality, or how the things are going on in our LC perspective, but we need to accept other visions, other opinions. And you always need to push for lead. Okay, leadership is the fundamental solution of our organization and the key of our organization. We're the leaders of the leaders, so we need to lead instead of comply. People need to understand what they are doing is connected with a big purpose, a huge purpose among that it's not only the LC, not only ISIC in Spain, but like the whole ISIC. So they need to understand their purpose in order to lead and to do the things by purpose. And also, regarding inspiration, and that's a thing that we're gonna talk later about, like the lead sessions, you really need to put yourself in an inspirational position, because by this, your VPs, your TLs, your members will see you as the LCP, as guide, as servant, as approachable, and you will inspire themselves in order to make them work and enjoy their work and understand why they are working. After this, like this kind of talks that you need to understand, you need to meditate about yourself, about your leadership style, and the way that you really want to see your LC's culture and you as LCP behaving towards your LC. It's like a question, a big question. How can I boost my leadership? How can I? All of the questions that I mentioned before mean true, and I will be seen the whole year as a leader and not as a boss. Okay, you need to be coach of your VPs, mainly of your VPs, because your VPs are the leaders of the TLs and the members. But you really need to take care of your VPs, and then your VPs will take care of the others. So you really need to be seen as a coach to them. But what's this? And this is in Spanish, like I'm gonna translate this, but coaching is an integral system. It's coherent and continuous that looks and seeks for the development of the individual talents in pro of results. So by being coach, you are sure that you are like developing your VPs entirely, and you are sure that this is gonna help you to look for your goals, comply your goals, and comply the things that you are planning now during your forming part. But how do we embed coaching in our events? That's a really interesting question, because nowadays we're always talking about coaching, but we are not sure how to implement this in ISEC. But this is really simple, and the question and the answer of this question is this. By like the quality of the leadership that we have in ISEC plus the personal development plan, we can have a perspective and the right tools to deliver like these lead sessions, and to be seen as the leader that we want, and to be better coaches of our VPs. So, how to coach with the LDQs towards the lead session that we mentioned? Okay, so we need to use the LDQs for every lead sessions that we do. Okay, so what's a lead session? It's mainly a session that you talk about this one of these four LDQs, and not only that, you need to choose one of the defining elements of these LDQs and work to that. When to do it? It's recommended, yeah, that you facilitate these spaces once a month, regarding like how are you seeing the performance, like the behaviors, the current status of your VPs, and how. Okay, this is the key point. Here, as I mentioned before, you have like the elements of each of the leadership development qualities. So you really need to analyze what's the main element and the main LDQ that you need to work the most in order to connect this to purpose and the purpose with results. Okay, because we can have purpose, but if we not mix the purpose with the results, we are not complying the ISEC mission. Okay, so for example, I'm the LCP of ISEC in Ibiza, and I see that my BPs are lacking of solution orientation. They put me a lot of excuses. They are not finding the solutions. They always are mistake pointers, and we are kind of stopped by this. So as LCP, I know that solution orientation is the LDQ that I need to empower the most and the month of February. So then I go deeper and I see, okay, which of the elements it's lacking the most. So I read, adapts and shows resilience in the face of challenge, transmits positivity to move forward through uncertainty, and takes risks when it's needed. For example, in ISEC in Ibiza, where I am LCP, I feel and I have seen that most of my PPs are not taking risk. They are not wanting to grow. They are afraid of putting bigger goals in our plannings. They are afraid to reach people. They are afraid about their team leaders. They are afraid about everything. So they are not taking risks. So I really need to understand that this is what I need to enforce now, and I need to prepare an info session, a lead session about this. How to do it? This is really simple, but you need to be really sensitive about this. But you have these 6 ways to deliver these lead sessions. First, as individual discovery and reflection, that maybe you can give to them some specific cases, a task, something like that, and you give it to each of your VP in order that they develop this one of these elements, and you can have by this individual discovery and reflection an inner journey, facilitating an inner journey to your VPs and discover how they can like enforce this one of these elements. You can also have a team experience that you can have like all of your EV and put them into a EV day or something like that, and you can facilitate this to all of your EVs. Maybe it's different, and maybe the necessities of the LDQs and their elements are different between each LCVP, because maybe my LCVP or GB it's lacking of world citizen in interest in world issues, and my BBTM it's lacking of the develop of self-aware. So by a one-to-one, we can deliver a lead session individually, and we can like have a place more confidence and this work when you're noticing that your BPs are having different necessities. Between conference and seminars, you can plan like LC days where you can facilitate to not to your BPs but all of your membership to in your LC, and you can have like this in your LC day. Learning circles. By this, you can have the opportunity to work with your EV team, especially when you're seeing that this is lacking, especially in your TLs and TMs, and you can facilitate the learning circles by working with all of your VPs and having a specific task assigned towards the lead session, and it will turn this into a conversation where each VP is giving like something special towards this. So it helps when you need when you first you want to work more with your VPs towards their lead session development skills, and second, when you need to empower this in order that they develop this in their teams with their team leaders and team members, and as well as virtual spaces. We highly recommend that we can use these 5, but it's when you don't have any other option, you can require to virtual space to deliver a lead session. This is our key points that will help you to facilitate and construct like your lead session. First, you need to understand, as I mentioned before, like what's the LDQ and the element that you really need the most to achieve results on this month. Then you need to prepare like the session. Try to be interactive, try to be inspirational, and if you don't know how to understand one of the elements, you can ask your MCVP or your MCP that you think that understand the most of this. Also, in ISEC Hub, there's many lead template of lead sessions where which you can work with it and you can adapt some things according to your LC reality. And moreover, if you don't know how to develop this, Google, yeah, sounds really basic, but Google will help you a lot with ideas of dynamics, ideas of sessions. For example, how to communicate effectively. Google will give you a lot of sense and guides in order to how to develop this specific element. Then you need to practice. In order like you have like a really successful lead session, you need to practice more and dry run this. Try to talk with your MCP, try to talk with the rest of your VOP in order that you receive feedback and you can develop this lead session as the best lead session that you have ever delivered. And then after you deliver this lead session, you can listen to yourself and ask for feedback to your VPs and to your team leaders, team members in order to improve and do the next one better. You can also work with the PDP in order to understand better like how are like the LDAs are going. Specifically, if you want to work like this session individually, try to have your PDP ready with your EV, and then you can see in which of the four LDQs they need to develop more. And this is gonna be really helpful to you because you have like exact information of each of your VP, sorry, to work on the lead sessions that you want. Okay, so this is the parts of the PDP. Really try to read and work towards this in order to have like a personalized lead session, and you can be more perceived more as reachable and understandable and empathetic to your VPs, TLs, and TMs. Okay, you can also see like competence, like the competence model. You can check on this and this bit like in order to understand more, and this could be helpful tools to have a more complete lead session. And remember that we're the leaders leading the leaders. In ISA, everyone is a leader, and we all need to understand that. You as LCP you are the leader of your whole LC, and you need to understand that your VPs, team leaders, and team members are both leaders in development. So you will really need to assure that the lead session really helps them to understand whether they need to improve and need to develop to be like as more leaders. Connected to the ISEC leadership qualities and to connect this with results and the results that we want to achieve. Because if we are not connected the lead session with the main purpose that is developing practical experiences, we're not complying what ISEC is. And that's all, guys. If you need any help and you have any questions, just approach to me. And I really wish you that you will be awesome, awesome, awesome fascist of a lead session. Bye.